on, guys? All right. Sorry, I don't know what happened. Can y'all hear me? What in the world? Um, Talking y'all while picking up. Okay. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Hot Mess Express. Let me know if you can hear me. Let me know. Let me know. Okay, sound is good for us. Thank you for always letting me know because it takes a minute. We're on delay. I don't know what was going on there, but my intro like it was playing double. Anyway, I had to get that out. And then when I stopped it, it continued to play music. So, all right, we're over that little um, mishap. So, good morning, everybody. Welcome on into the stream. Hopefully, everything will flow smoothly now. I don't know what that was about. All right, good morning to my mod team. Welcome in as usual. I appreciate all of you for being here. Um, Tricia, welcome on in. HTC victim, welcome in. Welcome in, guys. We'll give it a few minutes and see if anybody gets into the chat before we get rolling with the show this morning. How's everybody doing? Did y'all stay warm last night? I did. They said it was supposed to be like super windy today, and it's calm as it can be. So maybe later today. But one time this morning, I thought, like, is that hurricane strength wind out there? It's like they wasn't lying, and then it just went away. So calm, pretty morning here, but it's a little chilly, but I'll take it. And then I felt bad after complaining yesterday about being scared of what I had coming for winter. Then I went and watched a little bit of the news on the YouTube streets, like the actual news. And I was like, oh man, they got it way worse than I do. I'm sorry, y'all. My little bit of complaining. Y'all are like, lady, we're having blizzards. It's into the 30s here now. So you guys, I didn't freeze too bad, Rachel. It was actually felt kind of good, honestly, after going through January, starting out with heat and humidity. It was a little bit of a relief, but it's supposed to get colder, but it is what it is, right? It's winter. We expect it to be cold. Now, if it gets to a point where it's not cold in the winter, then maybe I'll start to worry about things. Yeah, y'all please hit the like button as you come through the door. Well, we're going to unpack this case today of this Hollywood actor, more allegations, Timothy Busfield. Um, the story has been popping off for a few days, and we've just been covering other stuff. So today we're going to get to it. We do have the one indictment with the allegations from the two boys. We do not have the full indictment or allegations on the 16-year-old girl, but we got a lot of information about it. So we're going to take a look at things here. And of course, everybody's innocent until proven guilty, but we're going to talk about it, right? Hey, Carrie, welcome on in. Good morning to you. And thank all of you who turned out yesterday for the show. We got a lot of views on that and some good numbers and feedback. So I appreciate y'all for being here for that. Um, and of course, we'll continue to follow that case. Am I colder than you are, Butterfly? Okay. I don't know what it's supposed to get up to today. I don't usually look. People tell me stuff's gonna be happening and I'll be like, well, let me go look. And then I'm like, oh, so I'm not we got a couple of days worth of this apparently. Sorry, I had to mute and cough. I didn't want to cough in you guys' ear. Hope I'm not coming down with a cold. Time to stock up on all the cold meds, right? Stupid winter. Everybody's like, it's great, it's great. We can go skiing and play in snow and make little snow angels. I'm like, but all of y'all got the flu and it's freezing, so no. Y'all try to avoid that flu this year. Goodness, we don't need anybody sick. All right, so what do we know so far about this case? I'm just making sure y'all are good in chat and making sure I didn't miss any comments. All right. So y'all been hearing what's been going on with the case, right? Now we know that Timothy Busfield has been charged and now has been arrested once he finally turned himself in. But it turns out like November 3rd, he had a phone interview with the police department and his wife was present on speakerphone. So she knew all about the allegations. Apparently, she had decided to come out and make some social media posts speaking out against child abuse, right? Knowing those allegations were being leveled against her husband. Whole bunch of stuff there to unpack, but whatever. And this kind of disheartening for those of us who grew up watching Little House on the Prairie. But man, her statements were just made me floored. Okay, so November 30 does the phone interview with the police. This man's well aware, they're looking for me. They want to talk to me, all the things. On January 9th, the warrant was issued, and by the 13th, he finally turned himself in. According to the family, or him and his wife, I guess, it was like a, let us get our shit together kind of thing, get the lawyer and all the things, and then we're going to go turn ourselves in. So he thought that was the better avenue to take. And once he turned himself in on January 13th, he was he was booked into the Metropolitan Detention Center in Bernalillo County. I said that wrong. Bernalillo County, in Albuquerque, New Mexico. He was charged with 2 counts of criminal sexual conduct of a minor. His first appearance was the 14th, and he was held without bond. Now we're going to take a look at the indictment. Flu is bad every year, right, Tricia? It gets worse every year. It's like a big shocking headline on the news, and I'm like, y'all tell me this every single year for the past 20 years. Worst flu season ever. It's the flu, and we need to protect ourselves. Hey, I was practicing 6 feet before the pandemic. That's just my routine. It is bad, and certain states get hit way worse than others, and then it's an epidemic. Everybody gonna send them babies on off to school with a little runny nose and a little fever because they got to get to work. Because work ain't gonna let you stay home to take care of your sick babies. It's a whole thing. Don't even get me started on society. We have to have a whole separate channel for stuff like that. You think it's bizarre that she spoke out, Rach? Sometimes you wonder, right? We're like, where's the statement? And sometimes it's best just to be quiet. And if you're going to make a statement, make the right statement, right? Of course, we all understand the innocent until proven guilty thing. Now, there has been chatter, was this a money grab? Honestly, if we're being adults and being honest, we can't say that's not far-fetched. But at the same time, I'm not going to take allegations by children lightly either, especially in Hollywood, right? We know too much. We've seen too much. I don't even watch movies anymore, guys. I don't pay attention to Hollywood, California at all unless I'm really watching The Real Housewives for fun. If I am bored and there's nothing else on, I'll watch them bitches and laugh and think this is stupid. I don't watch TV. I don't watch movies. I do not go to movie theaters. I'm not feeding the pockets of people. Your movie's probably not that entertaining, honestly. I've not seen a movie come out that I'm like, oh my God, I want to go watch that. Like, I don't do Hollywood. I don't do politics. I can't with all their bizarreness, right? It's too much for my brain. There is a history, Butterfly, and we're going to dive into it because Butterfly and I, a couple days ago when this was all popping off, we were both just like busy, 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 right? And we're like sharing with each other, and we were finding all the stuff that's being talked about now. But we're going to get to everything that we did discover. So let's pull up this indictment and get busy reading it. It's not lengthy. We'll get that done. Let me pull up my file here, my folder. Okay, 12-page indictment. And let me do all the things back here, get it larger so we can see for all of us blind people. Okay. All right, there we go. I can't stand going to the movie theater, Tricia. It's not comfortable. It's not comfortable. I just like to sit at home and watch a movie if I'm going to watch it, honestly. I don't It's not my thing. Okay. This is the criminal complaint, Timothy Busby, and they gave us the address listed is over in Albuquerque. Shoot, hold on. Someone's at my door. Hold on, guys. Hold on, I have to get up and unlock. I think it. Well, I thought it was unlocked. Huh? All right. Sorry for the interruption. Our movie theater has lazy boy type chairs. We had one of those here years ago for us, and we all took advantage of it and partied inside of there. They didn't like that, but we were teenagers. What they expect? We're like, yeah, we're gonna be here. That'd be cool though if you could lounge, but then I get afraid of who lounged on it prior to me. So did they clean it thoroughly? See, it's a whole thing with me. I can't. I'm a little weird. I don't want nobody's funk. Okay, let's get back to the document. Um, okay. I got distracted. All right. Criminal complaint. Arrest warrant affidavit. The undersigned under penalty or perjury complaint says that on or about the 19th day of October, I've got to make this larger because I'm blind. Okay. On the 19th day of October in October, it says the 19th day of October 2022. So they're alleging that this was like the time period, right? In the county of Bernalillo, state of New Mexico, the above named defendant did here state the essential facts. Affiant is a full-time sworn. Oh, we're not going to get into that. Let's get into the primary investigation. We know they're sworn people of the law and doing all their things. Okay. The affiant knows the full identity of the victim and his brother. And unfortunately, I think many people do because it wasn't hard to figure out. It was so easy. And I'm just not going to put their names out there or their faces because they're children. Um, However, to protect their identity, the initials will be used throughout this document. I will refer to the victims as SL, date of birth, 9/11. I don't even want to read that out loud. I might get in trouble, actually. Um, October 10, 2025, I was assigned to case number for a follow-up investigation. Preliminary investigation. On 11/1/24, Officer Osborne was dispatched to 920 Readable Road, New NW, in reference to the caller identified as Dr. Tyler Christensen of the University of New Mexico Hospital, who was calling for a sexual abuse investigation. Now, that's the doctor calling, guys, to um, launch the investigation. Okay, everything's still good in chat, y'all. Everything's coming across the screen good and all that. Okay. Um, Officer Osborne talked with Angel and Ronald, who advised that their children are actors. Oh, I didn't realize their names were in there like that. Anyway, the parents, they spoke to the parents who advised that their children are child actors and had been on a television series called The Cleaning Lady. A new director identified as Timothy Busfield joined the series and grew closer to the boys. It was reported that Timothy would tell his children, to call him Uncle Tim. Oh, the man's. See, I can't with that. I'm so over that because 20 years has went by. People, the man in the white van from the 70s, why are we calling grown men uncle? And we got a whole community of adults on the internet who are fine with calling grown men their uncle. Does your baby hear you doing that? Think about it. Ronald, the parents told Officer Osborne that they both discovered that there were allegations against Timothy of sexual assault against both women and minors. Ronald told the officer that there had been multiple rumors that Timothy had been handsy with women. Okay, how did this father get a hold of these rumors? Did he tell people about what he was happening and they're like, "Hey, well, you know what? We all heard this. Rumors." But nobody done nothing. Okay. Got handsy with women. The mother informed Officer Osborne that she had asked their children, BL and SL, who were 11 years old at the time, if anyone had ever touched them in a manner that made them feel uncomfortable. The children responded by asking, "You mean Uncle Tim?" So, did somebody come to the dad, and like, look, we've heard these rumors over the years or whatever, and then they start to question their own children, and then they take the kids to the doctor. The children responded by saying, "You mean Uncle Tim?" I, I would never let my children call a movie director Uncle Tim. That is your boss. That's not your uncle. He went to a law firm that recommended that they take the two children to the hospital, which they did. It was reported that while at the hospital, the staff there advised that it appears the children were groomed. How long did they talk to the kids, and who? That was determined at the one visit. In reference to a car, I just gotta, the only reason why I'm questioning it, guys, because defense attorneys will attack every single bit of that, right? That's where my brain goes with that. That's just shit for them to attack. Um, in reference to a CART exam, it was advised that they would reach out for a full CART exam. Okay, so Officer Osborne talked with the children, who did not disclose any sexual contact at this time. However, both boys advised that Busfield, who they referred to as Uncle Tim, would tickle them on the stomach and the legs. Neither boy cared for the tickling. I don't blame them. Officer Osborne contacted Detective Michael Brown and the Crimes Against Children unit and determined that the case did not meet their acceptance criteria at this time. What is acceptance criteria? Does each state, does each, every state have a different level of criteria, kind of like with stalking laws? So they didn't meet. So then I guess an allegation of tickling is not going to rise to that level, right? Because the children at that point hadn't made allegations, just tickling. All right, so there's not enough there to do anything about. On 10/3/25, um, the mother reported to Child Protective Services, and there's a report number, that her children both disclosed that there was sexual abuse by Timothy from around November 22nd to spring of 2024. She advised that she filed a police report, was initially told by law enforcement that Timothy had not physically touched the children and there was nothing they could do. She advised that her children were groomed and sexually abused by Timothy. She advised that on 9/2/25, SL reported to his counselor that Timothy Busfield touched his penis and bottom. I don't have my banner up there for people who may not, like, yeah, we're adults and it's true crime. We talk about icky stuff. Sorry, guys. Um, can't get worse than what I read in Madeline Soto's stuff. Um, all right, so touching of his privates. Safe House interviews on 10/14/2025. A Safe House interview was scheduled for the boys for the morning of 10/31/25. So that was very recent. The parents said on 10/17/2025, I contacted the mother by phone, who was out of town traveling with her husband. I spoke with the two on a speakerphone and advised them that I would be investigating the boys' disclosures to the therapist. Now, so they are now talking to their therapist, right? The mother told them that on the 9/3/25, SL disclosed to his therapist, who works at All Faiths Children's Advocacy, that Timothy Busfield touched both his genitals and his bottom. Mother advised on 9/22, SL disclosed to his pediatrician at Journey Pediatricians that Timothy touched him in the same way. On 10/13/2025, I submitted 2 search warrants for approval of the district attorney's office for SL's medical records from the pediatrics office and from the mental health services. On 10/24/2024, I executed both search warrants for SL's medical records. Should that be 25? Yeah, the next day, that should be 2025. All Faiths therapist records. So now they're getting into the records from the the counselors. On 10/30/25, I received the therapist records from All Faiths Children Advocacy Center. I did review the documents where the doctor who documented the therapy sessions. She diagnosed SL, who was 10 years old at the time, with post traumatic stress disorder in moderate levels. I also viewed an incident report submitted 9/2/2025 by the doctor that documented SL disclosing that a director of a series in which SL was an actor had engaged in inappropriate touching. Previous disclosures are being touched on the arm, chest, and back. Children should never be touched in a way they feel uncomfortable. That's like forcing the child to go across the room and hug Uncle You Know Who that you already know's a creep. I never made my girls do that. If they were uncomfortable and didn't want to hug somebody, they didn't have to. It's just shut up and go hug them anyway. Be good. No, no. If my kids got a feeling, they got a feeling. Um, I'm letting them be them. On 9/9/25, sorry, wait. While the doctor was updating SL's treatment plan, that's when he disclosed to her that he had been touched on the privates. Okay. So on 9/9/25, the doctor documented SL disclosing having nightmares about the director touching him and waking up scared. SL has disclosed that the director had touched and rubbed him in the privates 3 to 4 times and appeared to be ashamed. Journey Pediatrics. On 10/29/2025, I reviewed the patient care summary for SL submitted by the doctor. The most recent encounter on 9/22/2025 discussed an assessment plan for sexual assault of a child. I did not find any disclosures from SL during this visit. Really? That was in. So a month later is when he starts talking after he's been there for a minute and I guess got comfortable with the therapist. On 6/24/2025, the doctor saw SL, who was accompanied by his mother, who gave the background of the criminal sexual contact involving a member working on the set of the television series The Cleaning Lady. After reviewing the past medical records, it was documented that SL and his brother were child actors in a show called The Cleaning Lady and experienced grooming and inappropriate touching by a member on the set between 2023 and 2024. Both SL and VL were evaluated at the Pediatrics Urgent Care on November 1, 2024, and it was reported that the Albuquerque Police Department was notified. They have been in therapy since 2025. They didn't go to the doctors before then? Oh, I'm a little confused. SL has had issues with bedwetting along with other behavioral issues. Maybe the parents started seeing them escalate into different behaviors, and that's when they put them into therapy or whatever. SL was diagnosed with PTSD and anxiety, not currently on medication. Safe house interviews. So now they're at the safe house and they're at 10/31/2025. Your daughter don't like the Santa? Yeah. I never felt some kind of way about Santa, but I had my eyes on Santa the whole time my girls were interacting with Santa. Don't think I didn't. And that was 1990 something. This mama knew better back then. Oh, yeah. Like I was real close and watching hands. Santa, you better watch them hands. And I'm picky about where my girl sits on your lap too. Let's put it that you got a leg. She don't need to be a yeah. There's a whole thing. Parents should be staying very vigilant. SL was the first child to be interviewed. During the interview, SL told the interviewer that Tim touched him while he was on a movie set. SL told the interviewer that the first time Tim touched him was when he was 7 years old. He described it as his parents no longer having an iPad to watch the set. When the director, who was Tim, said, "Cut," Tim would come into the bedroom on the movie set and touch SL's private areas. Now, okay, so when you yell "cut" and the parent's not there, they're watching everything go down on an iPad. Your minor child is on a movie set. Who's there with the child as a chaperone? You're going to sit at home with your iPad and watch it all until he says, "Oh no, we don't do them iPads. We're not. It's not necessary." So then, when he yells "cut," the child goes into an area alone where a bedroom's at on the movie set, and then he comes in. Who's with these kids? Okay, I'm not. This guy's bad enough, but I got to start holding other people just as accountable. It's been going on for too long. SL provided a drawing to the interviewer showing how he was alone with Tim in this room. Did nobody realize that grown man, was alone in the room with the baby? They weren't assigned like a legit chaperone to watch out for them? Or did you go get a coffee and turn your head because here comes the big guy, the director's coming. We got to go get coffee and leave him alone. I cannot. All right, enough of that. Let me get back to the document. SL said that Tim would grab his waist with both hands while SL was laying on his back in the bed for the movie set. Tim would then touch all over his body, including his private area. He described his private area as where he poops and pees, also referred to in the medical terms as the gluteus maximus and the penis. SL said Tim touches his poop and pee area over the clothing 5 to 6 times between sets. Oh boy. That's grooming, right? That's where it comes in. You start out like that and it escalates over time. After the sets were over, SL said he was scared and speed walked to his father. Okay, if his dad was there and he would speed walk to dad and hide behind dad, where was dad when the boy was alone in a room with the director? SL said the second time he was touched was when he was 8 years old while he was on the set. SL describes the first movie set as the same as the first set. Now, that's what they said that when Busfield came on to be the director, the parents were issued these iPads and they would watch everything going down from the iPads. I'm assuming they weren't there or they were in a separate area. I don't know. But then he comes on board as the director and tells them they can no longer have the iPads. I would have been like, well, my kid's no longer in your little TV show, buddy. Money, the root of all evil. Take your iPad and shove it. I mean, who's this guy think he is? Lordy help me. Hindsight, I guess. SL said he was afraid to tell anyone because Tim was the director and feared Tim would get mad at him. I'm not blaming these kids at all. These kids are kids, and I can understand they were probably afraid to tell anybody. Most kids are. So many kids never tell anybody. They carry that with them their entire lives. That's what I've learned from watching all this unfold over the years. They just don't tell. And when they do, sometimes they're not even believed, especially by their own mothers. I did learn that the television series The Cleaning Lady was filmed, and they give the address in Albuquerque. Okay, so then they're going to interview the other kiddo, and these little boys were twins. They played the same character, kind of like the Olsen twins did on that one show they were on. I can't remember the name of it now, but y'all know how they work it. So that's what these two boys were doing. They were a set of twins playing the same character. Busfield's going to claim that he fired the boys to hire a younger actor, which makes no sense. Is your TV audience that stupid? Oh, my character just got younger. And he says the parents are doing this in retaliation for firing their boys because he wanted to hire a younger. Were they getting too old for you, sir? We can read between the lines. That makes absolutely no sense. We're so enthralled with Hollywood. We're not going to call them out when you replace my character with a younger version. Oh, God. VL said Mr. Tim would start touching him with his hands about his body while they were filming in the house. VL advised that it, like the house set, right? That's what I'm envisioning there. VL said Mr. Tim would start touching him with his hands about his body while they were filming in the house. He advised that was a that it was about his body, but did not disclose that he was touched in his privates. VL said that he did not like being touched and did not say anything because he didn't want to get into trouble. So I'm assuming he would do this at separate times to these boys. You know, and being twins and being close, I wonder if they were ever comfortable enough to say anything to each other, right? Might have been terrified. On 11/3/2025, I contacted the mother to follow up with some questions after SL's Safe House interview. She talked to me about the iPads that the crew would hand out to the parents while their children were filming. This would allow the parents to watch their children while they were filming. She said that she could not remember the exact date when they quit passing the iPads out, but advised that it was after Timothy started directing. I'm sorry, that iPad would not have went anywhere unless you plan to put me right there, park me right next to the director. That's my baby. I asked the mother to explain how SL was allowed to be alone with Timothy while on the movie set when there were other people around. She advised me that when the director is directing somebody in scene, a lot of the time people will let them talk, just the two of them or whoever it was. When the director says cut, a lot of the time people are rushing around trying to get to the next shot. Oh, all these adults just running around doing their jobs, ignoring the babies. Oh, the director needs a word with the child to get him back in line so he can perform. Let them have their moment. Oh my God. Y'all, I feel some type of way. Sorry, I don't mean to be all crazy on it, but I cannot help it. I'm trying. Um, hey, Pokemon, welcome in. Did he always? Yes, right, Pokemon. Did he always give you that vibe? Me too. What was that show he was on, that 30 something or whatever back in the day? I didn't care for him there. He gave me a vibe. The whole show was kind of a weird vibe if you think about it. Um, on a God, now that I do think back on it, I'm like, damn, society, y'all just took a downward turn one day in the 1980s and said, fuck it. Everything's now acceptable. We got to inclusive everything, no matter what it is. And y'all better be politically correct out there, or else. I don't have to be politically correct for anybody. I don't watch politics. I don't even fucking care. It's depressing to watch. On 11/3/2025, I called and left a message with Timothy Busby or Busfield. Oh, I keep saying Busby. Busfield. I keep saying that here at home privately. I'm like, what are you doing? It's Busfield. Asking him to return my call. So at 10:44 a.m., I received a call from Busfield, who advised me that he was on speakerphone with his wife, Melissa Gilbert. Now, Melissa Gilbert, as we all know, was a child actor. She was on Little House on the Prairie. She was also head of the Actors Guild for many years. I think it was during the 90s, might have been the 80s, but I remember when she did it. Timothy advised that the two were in New York at the time. Oh, sorry, my thing went nuts. They were in New York at the time. I advised him that I was interviewing a case or investigating a case that was assigned to me, and Timothy asked if I would like to speak with me, if he would like to speak to me about the case. Okay. Timothy did want to speak with me at this time. I did inform Timothy, sorry, that Detective Josh Dennison would be sitting in on the interview and that I would need to read him his Miranda warning before the interview started. Well, that's a good thing. I explained to Timothy that a child had disclosed information about something that had happened to him while he was directing the child on the TV show The Cleaning Lady. Timothy told me that he started directing this show in season 2, close to the final episode 3 years ago in 2022. Timothy said that there was 12 episodes and that it had to be episode 11. Oh, he remembers which episode it was. All these years later, I remember exactly when it happened. It was episode 11. Okay, you sound like somebody else I know out here on these streets. I pull that shit right on up out your files. Had it ready to go. I asked Timothy if he remembered if there were iPads for parents to watch their children while they were on set. Timothy said, "We don't really like the parents had iPads while on. We don't really like that the parents had iPads while on set, and that it was not a standard process and that they do not encourage it." Why not? Protect yourself, Mr. Timothy there, director guy. Protect yourself. You've had past allegations leveled against you. Promised to go to therapy and all that mess. But here you are, it's not standard process. Who sets the standards in Hollyweird? Hollyweird? I asked Timothy if the parents were allowed to have iPads to watch their children before he started directing the cleaning lady. Timothy told me that there might have been iPads. Timothy then continued to say that the children were never alone on the set without the teacher, a welfare worker, or a parent. Well, where were they all at when you was allegedly doing things to the children? I need a private moment to discuss their performance. Timothy said that he did not know the iPad was taken away and that this would not have gone through him. But he said up there he didn't encourage it and it's not standard. You're going to blame somebody else now. Well, there was an internal investigation, so I'd love to know what the investigation said. And who said, well, it was really his idea to remove the iPads, right? I asked him if he knew the children who were on episode 11, season 2, and Timothy replied that the showrunners were let go. The creator of the show's option wasn't picked up, and the two boys were replaced by a younger boy whom they auditioned. Timothy said that the parents had a problem with this. Timothy said that in the spring, he got a call from Warner Brothers saying they were investigating a complaint. So he knew they were investigating complaints against him, and that meant his wife knew as well. Back in the day, complaints. Timothy said Warner Brothers had an outside investigation through another firm do an investigation. Timothy was told that there were complaints about him from the boys. Timothy acknowledged that the boys involved in SL were the two boys. Timothy said the investigation began in the spring of this year around April. So they've known all year long about his allegations. Timothy told me the lead actress, Ms. Young, said the mother of SL and VL that she wanted revenge, and I'm going to get my revenge on Busfield for not bringing her kids back to the final season. Oh, so a lead actress told Timothy Busfield that? Hey, that mom's out to get revenge on you. Timothy did describe a bedroom setting along with a hospital setting with a bed or a gurney for the boys to lie on. This is inconsistent. This is consistent with setting SL described in his safe house interview. Timothy advised that he only described or directed the boys on the Pan American Freeway set in Albuquerque. I did ask Timothy if he ever had any physical contact with these boys and if he ever picked them up and tickled them. Timothy said it was highly likely that he would have. Timothy said it was a playful environment like he wanted. Now, you don't touch other people's children, even tickling. I mean, your family members, you're playing around with the kids, everybody's usually present while that's happening, right? I got videos of me laying in bed beside my 19-year-old now, but he's like 4, 5, and 6, and he would just love for me to tickle the shit out of him before he fell asleep, right? Parents tickle their children, but I ain't having Uncle whoever come tickle my babies. We don't trust the tickling. Timothy said it was highly likely that he would have. Timothy said it was a playful environment that he wanted. However, Timothy said that the dad would make the boys hug him, and he didn't really want them to do that. Oh God, he's gonna blame the parents made them hug me, even though I did not want that. Hey Jet, welcome in. Yeah, Holly weird. They've been weird for decades. It's like I've ignored them for decades. Um, I did ask Timothy what the protocol was for touching children and picking them up and touching them. I also asked if this was allowed. Timothy initially said it's not allowed at all. There's no protocol. I mean, I'm always around people, right? It would be, in front of the parents. I don't know. Were they there? Took their iPads away, sir. Okay. There would never be a weird about it. I don't really remember. I don't really remember picking the boys up. You need to make up your mind what you're doing here, sir. I remember picking up the boy who followed them. Oh, there was a third boy. I picked him up and he'd be giggling, and that would sort of get him ready to act. Method acting. Let's pick up this little boy and get him giggling so he can be ready to act. Timothy then stated, I don't remember those boys. You don't remember the stars of your show that you and your wife bought Christmas gifts for? Man, oh man. Tracy, I don't blame you, right? Even changing the baby's diaper. No, I was terrified to send my babies to daycare. I literally stayed at home for 5 years to be home with my children. And my husband and I, we suffered financially. We weren't, we had food, the bills were paid, but we didn't need to both work to have shiny things. Those children were far more important. I went to work once my youngest started kindergarten. That's when I chose to go back to work, right? And I was home by the time my babies got out of school. I understand parents don't have a choice sometimes and they have to do it. And the people who are in charge of taking care of our children should always put them first and be on top of the game, right? We shouldn't have to worry when we drop a child off at daycare in the morning to go out and earn all that money America demands I need to survive. We got to worry about the baby all day and the nanny cams. I just couldn't deal with it. I'll just stay home and I will suffer financially until these babies get old enough to go to school. How about that? They are actually more important to me than the almighty dollar. I'll take them down to the lake and we'll have a blast. We ain't got to go nowhere fancy. You don't remember the boys? No, I don't. I don't actually. I don't remember it. If it happened, I don't remember overtly tickling the boys ever, but it wouldn't be uncommon for me. Oh, he doesn't recall. I don't recall tickling them, but it wouldn't be uncommon for me to do that. Timothy and his wife Melissa did tell me that before this, they did have a relationship with the boys and their family outside of work. Really. They advised that they did buy the boys Christmas gifts and were together on several social functions. Okay, here's the lead actor's statement, I guess. On 11/5/2025, I contacted Elodie Young to set up an interview. She agreed to meet with me at Northwest Substation on November 7th of 2025. I did initially advise her that Tim Busfield gave her name and said that she may have information about the case. On 11/6/25, she left me a voicemail declining to speak with me and said that she does not want to be involved in the investigation and that she would not have any further. Ma'am, we're not accepting that. You went right to the fucking accuser and warned him it was coming, and now you don't want to be involved. Think about the children, not yourself, you grown ass person. I cannot. Jesus, what the hell? Now she don't want to be involved. The voicemail was uploaded to evidence.com. Taylor Trulio interview. On 11/14/2025, I was able to contact Taylor, who was a production assistant on the television set of The Cleaning Lady, while the boys were on set. Taylor advised me that there would be over 100 people working during the production of The Cleaning Lady. Taylor explained that everyone had their specific job. Man, my sister's got this heat cranking. Holy shit. Sorry guys, I gotta damn girl. Um, the cleaning lady, Taylor explained that everyone had their specific job and did not focus on other jobs that were being done by other personnel. Taylor explained that it was not uncommon for groups of different jobs to be done at different times. Taylor did advise me that she remembered the child actors, especially SL and his parents. Taylor advised that she was familiar with the rules and that pertained to child actors. And one of those rules was that the child should have a set teacher who would watch the children and advocate for them during production. Taylor said, "Yeah, because I thought they put some safety guards in place decades ago about this kind of stuff when so much was coming out." Um, Sorry, I was looking for my lip stuff and it's across the damn room. We'll get it in a minute. Um, And one of these rules was the children should have a set teacher who would watch the children and advocate for them during production. Taylor said that she remembered SL's teacher, Lee, who seemed to lose track of what the child actors were doing. How do you lose track of it? Are we off in Wonderland in our head? Taylor gave me an example that SL was stopped unsupervised riding a skateboard through a live set at one time. When Lee was asked about this, she did not have an answer. So he's out there riding an electric scooter through the set while they're trying to film, and the teacher was like, "I don't even know what's happening." Taylor did tell me that she felt SL's parents weren't from the industry and did not quite understand their rights as parents. Does somebody have to explain parents' rights to them under any condition, circumstance, school, work, anywhere? I need someone to tell me how to parent today. Like, I get it. I get what she's saying, though. Um, they should have been the advocates for their children, honestly. Like, I'm having a hard time. I'm not trying to blame these parents. I'm not doing that, guys, but I'm telling you, this should be a warning sign to every child actor in Hollywood. Then parents should be there at all times. Because do not sit here and tell me you're not benefiting financially from your child being there. So what, you're not off at work? So go watch the children. Taylor did tell me that she felt the parents weren't from the industry and didn't quite understand their rights. She said that the set teacher's job was to help with this and be an advocate for the children. Taylor said that she has seen directors alone with the child actors when there should have been a parent or teacher on the set with them. So that reads as if she's seen it happen, and not just this incident and others as well. Because she says, I've seen directors alone with child actors when their parent or when there should have been a parent or teacher on set with them. So it's quite common. Is there a company out there that provides these teachers? Because you know damn well there's companies that provide all these nannies for all these rich women who can't take care of their own children. And yeah, I said that. I'm talking about the ladies in the mansions with the millions of dollars and the 15 nannies, because you're not wiping asses at the end of the day, baby girl. You got somebody else doing that part for you. Um, oh my God. Taylor told me that she noticed SL and VL did not feel like they wanted to be there anymore. When she first met them, they were like very happy, bubbly children. And towards the end of season 2, around the same time Mr. Busfield came in, and all of season 3, especially SL, started acting difficult and were not happy. Well, that should have been a red flag. If she's like, hindsight 2020, she's like, wait, these kids did start changing once this guy came into the picture. When I asked about touching actors or children while they were not being filmed or scripted, if touching them was allowed, Taylor said that that was not allowed and that it was very unprofessional for anyone to touch or tickle anyone. Keep your hands to yourself. Taylor remembered Timothy being very touchy with certain people and felt that it was very unprofessional. Well, that goes against what the other actor who don't want to get involved's got to say, right? Yeah, nobody has the right to our children except for us. And then there's parents out there who shouldn't even have babies, but whatever. Y'all know what we're talking about. So then Lauren Trulio interview. So 11:14, I talked with Lauren, who was a production assistant um, of the cleaning lady starting at the end of season 2 through season 3. Lauren was familiar with an investigation involving SL and VL and Timothy Busfield and advised me that she never saw anything that would require her to report something to the police, but she did see abnormal behavior on the set. So I see abnormal behavior, but nothing that I needed to report. I mean, it's not, I get it. I don't honestly, because I'm not that girl. I see children being harmed, or if I suspect it, I cannot take my eyes off of it. I got to just pay attention. Lauren advised that she remembered the room the two boys were filming in and told me that she did see Timothy in the room with the boys. Lauren advised that she doesn't remember if they were alone in the room, but advised that it could have been possible due to the set teacher always hanging out in the first team holding area where there were no monitors and she would lose sight of the children. Well, ma'am, you might need to be added to the suit for failure to do your job. How much does she get paid? How much do these teachers get paid to watch the children and be their advocate? Lauren told me that it shouldn't happen. That's why they have set teachers. They're supposed to help keep an eye on that, but it's absolutely possible. Lauren advised that Lee was an older lady and she didn't keep a super close eye on the kids. Lauren explained there were a couple of times they'd be running around and almost get hit by other crew members carrying stuff or crew members trying to dodge out of the way of the kids. Well, I'm sure Timothy just loved the fact that this lady was not paying attention. That's what they hone in on. I mean, do we got to do a whole expose on how they groom your children? Stephon Stearns and Jen didn't ring a bell. Lauren said that Lee would not do this, and this could have allowed Timothy to be alone with the children in the room during production. Lauren said that it was frequent that Lee would always be hanging out with the first team. So she's just having the time of her life out there on the set, getting paid, and just ignoring the children. Yes, Stephen Collins from Seventh Heaven. Yeah, I think a lot of y'all feel the same way, right? You would be watching your child like a hawk if they were on a set. I couldn't imagine just sending them out there and not being with them. And who hired this teacher lady? Was it the film company, right? Did they advise, hey, here's an agency that we know of and they provide this service? You go pick out a match or whatever. Man. So then they interview, now they're going to interview the teacher. What you got to say for yourself, Missy? All right, so now she's contacted on November 21st, so just a few months ago. I did talk with Lee on the phone, who told me she was the studio teacher for the boys, which involves educating kids who are working on set and being responsible for their health, safety, and welfare. Well, Lee told me that she would sometimes monitor the boys while on set if they were working in a dangerous situation or a situation where she felt there was a risk. What is risky about? Were they doing stunts? Was it that time? It wasn't that kind of show, right? I never watched it, but from what I've looked at, what are you talking about, lady? So only if she felt it was dangerous or risky would she pay attention. Lee did say she would hang out by the first team where there was no monitors during filming. Okay, so I'm assuming if you think, well, they're filming, all eyes are upon them, so mine don't need to be. So the second he yells, "Cut, I need to talk to the boy over here," she's like, "Oh, cool." I did ask Lee if there was something that stuck out with the boys during her time with them. Lee told me SL became very reluctant to be on the set, which he wasn't in the beginning. Lee said SL was very enthusiastic about it, and then at a certain point, he just didn't want to be on set. That right there should tell them these accusations are absolutely true. That's crazy. Lee said that whether they were in the schoolroom or at the table right behind the set, he would just have his head down. Lee did not understand why SL did not want to go on set, but he was pretty clear he didn't want to. Lee said that was a big change. And what they were just telling him to go do it anyway? Suck it up, little baby. Suck it up, little boy. Get out there and perform. After talking with Lauren, Taylor, and Lee, and I'll tell you what, Corey's had a lot to fucking say about this, Feldman. Lots to say. I believe Timothy had the opportunity to be alone with SL while he was laying in the bed on the TV set. Learning that the teacher said, or learning that the set teacher would frequently lose sight of the children by hanging out with the first teams, there was no monitors allowed. Timothy was left alone and not watched during this time. I'm getting a sip of coffee, guys. On 10/3/2025, I wrote a search warrant for Warner Brothers requesting access to production records and materials related to an independent investigation into on-set indictments or incidents, during the filming of especially involving um, actor Timothy Busfield. In I'm sorry, any incident reports, witnesses' statements, or security footage about the referenced events. This information was mentioned to me during an interview with Busfield. On 11/7/2025, I received a voicemail from Richard Wessling, who identified himself as attorney for the Warner Brothers and requested that I return his call. Now, I wonder if they can put Warner Brothers into the suit. Are they the ones responsible for hiring teachers for their child actors? I mean, does the buck just stop with the director? Because somebody hired these children, and they were already on this set before Busfield came into the picture. So is Warner Brothers responsible for making sure there's teachers in place and safeguards for these child actors? Y'all better get to picking a better group of people to watch out for the babies. On 11/13/2025, I called Richard Wessling and explained to Richard that I had sent a search warrant for the investigation done for Warner Brothers involving Timothy Busfield. Richard was familiar with the investigation and told me he would locate the search warrant and contact his client, Warner Brothers, to see if they could help with the return of the search warrant. I did give Richard my email to contact me. He advised that he would get back with me after contacting his client. On 11/14/2025, Richard emailed me advising that he had spoken with Warner Brothers and they have authorized him to accept the search warrant and asked me to email the warrant so he can review the warrant and respond. On 11/17/2025, I emailed the copy of the warrant to Richard. I did request a return on the search warrant within 10 days. I explained to Richard this information could potentially be exculpatory. On 11/20 On 11/21/2025, he receives the email from Wessling, who stated below, Detective Brown, my apologies. I got your call earlier this week but needed to check with Warner Brothers before getting back to you. First, I did receive the warrant and have reviewed it with my client. Second, I mentioned previously the investigation was conducted under attorney client privilege. Warner Brothers is working through the process of deciding whether to waive privilege and provide you with a copy of the report. Oh, man. We might waive our own policies and give you. Man, I would be knocking on the president's door of the Warner Brothers. Excuse me? Excuse me. I am hopeful I will have an answer next week and will reach out to you again as soon as I know more. Let me know if you have questions. Good Lord. We got questions, sir. Are you willing to answer them? Okay, so the inner all that. On 12/18/2025, I received another email from Wessling after I inquired about the return. So he has to inquire back about it. Then he says, this is his reply. Detective Brown, I hope my email finds you well. My client has continued its internal process of evaluating whether to share the investigation report in response to the search warrant, despite the privileged nature of the report. I would like to speak with you about our current thinking when you have some availability. Let me know if you have time for a call tomorrow or early next week. I'd have hung up that email and I'm calling you right now. Can we stop it with all these emails? Why is Warner Brothers, what are they, what's going on here? They don't want to share their report of what their internal investigation found? On or about February 17, 2025, an anonymous complaint made a complaint. An anonymous complaint made should have been an anonymous complainer, I guess, made a complaint through the SAGAFTRA hotline about an incident that allegedly occurred on the set of The Cleaning Lady on December 16th of 2024. According to the anonymous complaint, who claimed to have witnessed the incident in the hair and makeup trailer, executive producer director Tim Busfield entered and kissed a minor male on the face as the minor was getting a haircut. The anonymous complaint further alleged that there are pictures of Busfield tickling and caressing the head of the body of minor boys. The lead actor, whatever her name was, Young, did talk with Christensen and stated she was shocked when Ms. Rhodes said to her and her husband that she did not like this, her son's being terminated. So that's the mother she's speaking about. Brought out of her that she would get revenge against Busfield. Well, Miss Young, that statement you made, we're discrediting it because you don't want to be involved now, but you didn't mind being involved before, right? It's like, what? You can't pick and choose when you get involved. Oh, I'm involved, and that's messy. I'm out. Christina McGovern was not able to talk with anyone who would support evidence that Busfield engaged in this behavior. Wow. After reading the independent investigation, I contacted other child actors to ensure their safety. While attempting to find contact information on the actors, I received another email from Wessling, who stated below, Dear Detective Brown, I learned today that you reached out to Barry Halley, who is employed by my client. As I think we discussed previously, we represent the company and its employees. I would ask that to the extent you need to contact any of my employees in the future, that you reach out to our firm as the counsel. Please let me know if you have any issues with our request. Man, they understand they're talking about child. Oh man, they act like it's just no big deal. On 12/31/2025, I contacted Daniel Vigil, who was working on the set with Busfield doing hair and makeup. Daniel told me that Danielle, I'm sorry, told me that she had been contacted by attorneys prior to my call. Danielle said that she knew that there was an investigation done by Warner Brothers regarding his misconduct with child actors. Because I'm assuming they went and spoke to everybody on set, right? If they're now conducting their internal investigation, they're talking to people on set. So people are aware questions are being asked about for his behavior with the children. Danielle told me that while she was working with two child actors who replaced the twins, she witnessed Timothy come into the trailer where she was working and kiss the two child actors on their foreheads. So he done fired the twins and got him two new ones, and now he's kissing on them. Danielle did say that both the children's parents were present at the time, but I felt the parents did not know the rules and the etiquette. I do not care what your authority is. Do not kiss my baby. Unless I tell you, here, play with the baby, and I'm sitting right here watching you, and you're like close friend or family. Don't. And plus, y'all all got germs. Please don't kiss my baby. Jeez. Get out of their little faces. Come on now. They can't handle it the way you can. I asked Danielle if it was normal for the kids to conduct for this kind of conduct to occur. She advised that it usually was not, and that a designated set teacher would be with the children for their safety. Danielle advised that the children were often left unsupervised by the designated set teacher. I think y'all need to incorporate her into the, if there's a lawsuit coming against Warner Brothers, oh boy. Danielle was very afraid of retaliation for talking with me and was afraid that she would no longer be able to get work in the film industry. Ba-bing, there it is. That's why we keep our big mouths shut. But we're ready to talk any other time. But when it comes to our job and our future in this industry, we got to keep it quiet. No, Danielle. No, ma'am. I don't care if you ever work again in Hollywood or not. I honestly do not give a rat's ass. Kristen, pick a different job. I don't know. On 12/30, I wouldn't want to work in an industry who is allowed to abuse children and nobody wants to talk about it. Those directors kind of count on that, don't they? You're not going to say anything because nobody will hire you in the future when I start telling them how you run your mouth. You'll be blacklisted in Hollywood. It's happened to a number of actresses already. The minute they open their mouth, they're blacklisted and they're done. No more jobs. It's play ball or get out. Let's put their ass on blast. On 12/31/2025, this is with Kristen Carr. I contacted Miss Carr, who worked on the set as a hair and makeup artist. When I spoke with Kristen, she seemed hesitant to talk to me. Kristen did not share or act as if she had any knowledge of inappropriate behavior. Even if I didn't witness anything, I'm not going to be hesitant to talk. Warner Brothers made it very difficult to obtain information for this case and waited almost 3 months to comply with a court order. Oh man, to produce the independent investigations. They were court ordered to produce it, and it still took them 3 months. Warner Brothers, if I was y'all sitting around the boardroom this morning, I'd be having some whiskey in the coffee. Warner Brothers used attorney Richard Wessling to advise. That's why I don't go to movies. I'm not making these fuckers richer. I can entertain myself. Watch me. Warner Brothers used attorney Richard Wessling to advise me that I would need to go through his law firm to talk with any employees of Warner Brothers when I was trying to ensure the safety of additional child actors. Warner Brothers used attorney Richard Wessling to advise me that I would need to go through his law firm to talk with any employees at Warner Brothers when I was just trying to ensure the safety of additional child actors. When talking with employees of Warner Brothers, they were afraid of retaliation from Warner Brothers if they talked to me. Oh, can we see this? Can we see all this? Because I'm not putting up with this. Conclusion. In my training and experience, pedophiles often infiltrate families under a trusted role, like Timothy, who as a producer exploited the hectic film sets to tickle and touch SL on his privates, making it as play. He would invite the family to offset gatherings, with his wife buying Christmas gifts to foster closeness, making SL feel special and dependent. Classic grooming to erode boundaries, isolate the victim, and silence suspicion by blending abuse into normalcy. This dual tactic, charming parents while secretly violating the child, builds a web of complicity that is hard to unravel, delaying detection as families trust the abuser's facade. They have to gain trust of the family. There's not hardly any. A lot of times mothers don't know what happened until their child tells them, sometimes many years later, uncle who or brother who, whatever the case was at. But a lot of times, no, never mind. So they come in like, and they do that. They will absolutely gain the trust of these parents and become like this savior or something. I don't know. I don't know how. I just couldn't imagine it happening to me. I discovered that Timothy Busfield has faced accusations of sexual assault with two separate incidents reported in the media, one in the 90s and then another one around 2012. Now, we've got some details about those we'll get into later. Here's some of the details reported in those incidents. Okay, so this talks about it more. Um, First allegation occurred in 1994. Wow. Long time ago, right? For this guy to still be at it today. First allegation occurred in 1994. A 17-year-old extra on Little Big League sued in Los Angeles Superior Court, claiming Busfield assaulted her, served her alcohol, and groped her. Attempted sex in a trailer. Denied by Busfield, the encounter the counter sued for extortion. Yeah. So he denied the claims alleged by the 17-year-old. And then he ended up trying to sue for defamation. And then he was ordered to pay $150,000. So he countersues for extortion. Parties settled privately. Later, his defamation bid against her lawyers got tossed, leaving him to foot nearly $150,000 in costs. No charges filed. So, how much did they pay off that 17-year-old girl to go away? Take your compensation, but don't go away. File a charge. Take the payoff. Don't. That's not going to be the first time a charge wasn't filed. And the second time, I got a real problem with the reason that wasn't filed. Don't come out here like you some innocent old parent. This just got duped. You're a parent, man. You should not be easily duped. Second allegation occurred 3/18/2012. Now, this is a separate incident here. This is a grown woman. A 28-year-old woman accused Busfield of battery in LA in an LA movie theater, alleging he slipped his hands under her clothes, touched her genitals for 4 minutes. Police took report under code. You were just on a date with that man and he did that, and you just, for 4 minutes, you're like, what the hell? I'd have been slapping that man's hands and jumping up and beating. Oh, man. No, 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 no. That's why you don't force your little girls to hug people, because then they grow up with this I gotta take it mentality. World full of dirty old bastards. 28-year-old woman accused him of doing that in the movie theater. Police took her report under code 243.4, but the prosecutors passed due to slim evidence. He called it consensual, no arrest or lawsuits, and the case was closed. I got to get me some coffee. That's gross. So the cops are like, well, it's your word against hers, right? Or ma'am, no, ma'am. He's saying it was consensual. You're saying it was 4 minutes of unwanted touching. You got nothing. SL has been in therapy and has had issues with bedwetting along with other behavioral issues. SL was diagnosed with PTSD and anxiety. Well, here comes Yolanda again. Okay, this is the doctor. She documented SL disclosing having nightmares about the director touching him and waking up scared. SL also disclosed the director had touched and rubbed him. Now, again, the documents do get repetitive. It is what it is. Like I tried to explain a week ago, that's normal in court documents. So, it doesn't bother me. During SL's Safe House interview, SL said Tim touched him, and well, he already heard that over his areas, over his clothing. And then he would speed walk toward his dad. Okay, so they're going back in now, and they're just signing off on everything, and that was the end of that document. Let me take this down for a moment. There's a lot in that document, guys, and I'm having a hard time with all these. There was a lot of people on that set. What was going on? That are people really that afraid to say anything because their jobs, and there's not just actors on sets, right? There's the set people who build the sets, all kinds of things. Should be a lot of people around at all times. At all times. Now, there's been another allegation that we're going to talk about. But let me grab some coffee because we're going to pull something up and watch it in a second. Are you guys still good in chat? Y'all still hanging out with me? All right, let me grab a fresh cup of coffee, guys. Hold on a second here. I don't want people to come in and be like, why is it quiet here? I'm going to put a note in chat. I should have a little warning thing made up. Going on a coffee break, man. I'll be back. I wonder if I do. Look, look. I'll be right back, guys. All right, I'm back. Thank you. Um, y'all folding laundry and doing the house cleaning and listening. Awesome. Thank you for letting us hang out in the background while you do your chores. I totally get that. Sometimes I'll be looking for a good stream to throw on, like to hear a topic I want to be listening about, and like while I'm doing things and there's nothing on, and I'm like, man, I want to be a true crime consumer today and not a content creator. Y'all, somebody pop off with a good live because I'm like, so bored. All right. Oh, thank you, Teresia, for the $10 there. Is that a super chat or something? Was I call that super sticker, super chat? I don't even know. But thank you, thank you, thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, I had to refill the coffee. I felt like I was getting a caffeine headache coming on. These people. All right. So these past allegations, let's look at something. There was an original article. Butterfly found an article for me, and then inside of that article, I noticed the original article was linked. So I grabbed it. Let's take a look at this original article from back in the 90s. Okay. And this one is the original. Where'd it go? Right here. And this is more details about the case where he had to pay the 150 grand. Okay. Like I said, this is the original article from there. From July 19th, 1996, and this is a report in the Desert News. Actor ordered to pay $150,000 to a law firm. A judge didn't buy actor Timothy Busfield's assertion that a law firm made up a sexual assault case against him. U.S. District Judge James Eidman on Wednesday ordered the Emmy-winning actor to pay nearly $150,000 to the Minneapolis law firm of Mazzarelli and Kramer. The amount was based on what it cost the firm to defend itself from Busfield's defamation suit, which the judge dismissed in April. Busfield, who played Elliot on 30 Something, claimed the firm made up a story that he sexually assaulted a 17-year-old girl while filming The Big League. Well, you settled out of court with her. Busfield settled a lawsuit with the girl. I'm sorry, these people who claim we settled but we weren't guilty, then take that shit to court. Are you terrified you can't win against these type of allegations? So we just quietly pay them off when they make the allegation but deny the allegation ever occurred. I wouldn't give anybody my money to shut them up if I didn't do nothing. If I did nothing to you, you're not getting my money. That's extortion, right? Or something. Who's watching out for the children? So he claims they make up the allegations. So Busfield settled a lawsuit with the girl, an extra on the film. That's who she was an extra for an undisclosed amount. Now, so what he had to do is after he paid her off, or settled, to use the correct term, then that's when he turned around and sued the law firm. And the judge is like, no, sir, no, sir, no, sir. You owe them money now and go sit down. I can't, that's ridiculous. Okay, hold on. Now, the other girl was a 16-year-old girl. Let me pull up a video I want to share where her father is saying something now. Man, I cannot believe what I heard. And the type of way he's feeling right now, maybe you should feel that type of way. Okay. So this is going to be, let me get this pulled up where you guys can see it as well. Oh, I can Forrest, thank you. He's like, chick, you're back. Get that going. Lord, my producers are better than Lauren's. Thank you, Forrest. Okay. So we're going to take a look at this. And this is this just came out like last night or this morning. So the father of the 16-year-old will now speak out about those allegations.
These court documents, we've learned that a father contacted authorities in New Mexico yesterday claiming Busfield sexually abused his daughter while she auditioned at Midtown's B Street Theater, which Busfield co-founded here in Sacramento. The father says that his daughter was 16 years old at the time, and the father says that Busfield asked the family to not report him if he went to therapy, and the father, a therapist himself, said he agreed.
Okay, right there. Like, what? Did you follow up on his therapy, sir?
KCRA 3 Cecil Hannibal joins us live in the newsroom. So, Cecil, you spoke with that father. I'm sure this whole thing has been difficult for the family. What did he tell you? What have you learned?
Well, the father named in the complaint tells me he spoke to a detective just yesterday. We had a nearly 30-minute conversation with him, and we are not naming him to protect the identity of the alleged victim, who we have not been able to speak with directly. But he tells us this goes back to 1999, an incident that he says changed the trajectory of his daughter's life.
Okay, yesterday I got a text from someone with a link to this story, and I clicked on it, and my gut fell out. My heart broke. And my gut fell to the floor because I feel partly responsible for
new court documents from New Mexico.
His heart fell to the floor because he felt partly responsible. I'm not saying you are, I'm not saying you're not, but damn.
Name of father now alleging Tim Busfield sexually abused his daughter at B Street Theater in Sacramento. The complaint says while auditioning for the defendant at B Street Theater, the 16-year-old reported that defendant kissed her and put his hands down her pants and touched her privates. The defendant begged the family to not report to law enforcement if he received therapy. The father, who is a therapist, recalls that meeting with Busfield.
Obviously, you know, this guy's crying, he's showing remorse, he's apologizing, he promises never to do anything, da-da-da-da-da-da.
Take off your therapist cap, sir, and put on your father cap. Da-da-da-da-da. He's like, I'm crying, I just cannot.
And so I said, basically, I'll tell you what. You know, he was basically begging me not to go to the police.
Do you regret not going to the police?
Now, yes.
Do you think your daughter might have begged him to stop? Like, I'm sorry, but that deserves to be called out. And maybe I'm wrong for doing it, but I'm just a regular person, and that don't fly with me.
Absolutely. Are you kidding after reading what I read yesterday? Absolutely.
In a statement to KCRA 3, B Street Theater said in part, B Street Theater is aware of a report concerning Timothy Busfield regarding an incident alleged to have occurred at B Street Theater 25 years ago. It goes on to say, B Street Theater retained legal counsel at the time to conduct an internal investigation, and Mr. Busfield has not had any role in the organization since 2001. The father tells KCRA 3.
It's very hard because I feel really guilty about this. because as a therapist, I think I did the right thing.
Oh, we've learned a lot about you therapists lately, and we don't like what we see. I mean, we just don't. We got Hildebrandt, Matthias, we got these weirdos out in Cali. Okay. Y'all got the answers. You're fucking awesome therapist. You're doing great.
As a father, I did not.
Now, a lot still left to uncover with this story, so here is who we're still waiting to speak with. We've contacted the alleged victim, but have not been able to speak with her directly yet. We also contacted Buck Busfield, Timothy's brother, who is the co-founder of B Street Theater. We received a statement from B Street Theater, but we are still trying to speak with the board members directly. In the news.
Okay, so Busfield and his brother started this B Street Theater all the way back in the day. We're going to look at a little bit of that in a second. Let me show you this video that TMZ received. I don't know if they got it sent to them directly, but they got it before anybody else did. But it's him, Busfield, getting ready to turn himself in. How can you go on, the news is all like, well, Busfield's missing, and now we heard that the other authorities were going to join into the search for him. Like, I don't even think they were actively looking for the guy, but he sure got time to get his shit together before he turned himself in. I can't understand. I guess that father, being a therapist, is convinced therapy fixes everything, and if the guy just goes, he'll be okay. That was your daughter, man. Take off the therapy hat for a moment. Did you give her therapy? Did you offer her therapy to get over everything that was done to her? Or did you tell her to get over it quietly and just chill, chick, you'll be fine? Okay, so it's embedded in here. Let me, I'll take it off mute when they stop with this ridiculous ad. Leftover lazy lasagna. That sounds good right now, don't it? I didn't eat breakfast this morning. I wasn't hungry.
Hi, everybody. It's Tim. I'm sure most of you know that are watching this that I was ordered to come to Albuquerque. I'm here now. I got the call.
Oh, well, thank God you made it.
Friday night. I had to get a lawyer. Saturday, I got in a car. I drove 2,000 miles to Albuquerque.
We've been told on the YouTube streets by defense attorneys, lawyer up. We get it. You had to get a lawyer, and you had to drive 2,000 miles to get back to Albuquerque. Y'all don't got no private jet. Attorneys on standby. I had to go get an attorney.
Albuquerque. I'm going to confront these lies. They're horrible.
Actually, wait a minute. He is known for since November, actually back to April, that this was being investigated. He just now, I had to get a lawyer. Y'all give me some grace.
They're all lies, and I did not do anything to those little boys. And I'm going to fight it. I'm going to fight it with a great team. And I'm going to be exonerated. I know I am, because this is all so wrong and all lies. So hang in there, and hopefully I'm out real soon, and back to work. And
Oh, well, thank God you might be out soon and back to work. We wouldn't know what to do without you on the TV or directing a set. Like, nobody cares about all that. I don't.
I love everybody for supporting me. Thank you.
Who's supporting him, guys? His wife. Carrie, is it easy to make? She's like, it's easy to make, Salty. It's good. She knows me. If it's complicated, no thank you. I'm going to be the only one eating it, probably. Well, my sister will probably eat it with me. Yeah, he makes this statement, I had to get it, because it took him, 4 days to turn himself in. So he, had to get his attorney and get it all together, and then drive the 2,000 miles over back to Albuquerque to turn himself in. Now, we do have a clip from him being in court, but now his attorney has said that once he turned himself in, that he took a lie detector test and passed it. Well, those aren't 100% reliable from what we hear, not even allowed in the courts in Florida, so I don't know about there. But yeah, Okay, like Nancy Grace type, where people fall asleep during them, or I don't. I need to know more about this lie detector test. Who performed it? Did the cops perform the test? Did his defense attorney bring somebody in there to do it? I don't know. We'll have to see how that rolls out. Um, okay, so we did that. We did that. I'm looking through the stuff I had for you guys. And we saw where the 16-year-old's father said that we would seek counseling. Now, California operates under a law that New Mexico doesn't operate under. And it's got to do with 404 evidence, right? And we all know about 404B evidence in these criminal cases, like we learned about it with the Koberger case. That's past bad acts, right? Coming into the courtroom. So in New Mexico, they only operate under Federal Rule of Evidence 404. California doesn't. California allows that under Evidence Code Section 1108, where the past allegations can come in because it shows a grooming type behavior, right? Or a pattern of behavior. Over here in New Mexico, they're operating under the Federal Rule of Evidence, meaning they may not be able to bring in the allegations from Cali into the courtroom in New Mexico to establish a pattern, right? So we'll have to see how that unfolds with the attorneys in the court as that plays out with them. Okay, so I looked at this. So like I said, back in the day, he founded this. Where did it go? Because there's not really, it's like he's apparently not involved anymore. But it makes you wonder how many other children in this theater may have been exposed to something, right? And if anybody will come forward out of that. What did I do with it? And I looked at the criminal case file. We'll do that in just a second. Here it is, digital brochure. Okay, so I found this morning. This is a digital brochure from the B Street. Now it's called the Sophia, home of B Street. B Street Theater. This is their digital brochure, okay? Sacramento's home for live entertainment. For nearly 40 years, B Street Theater has been bringing stories to life. Now, I'm not going to sit here and pretend that everybody involved in this theater company is a horrible person, right? I don't buy it. But none of them were probably even there back when these allegations were made. But it's what it is, a digital flyer for them. And there's all the way toward the bottom, though, it talks about the stuff for the kids. If you want your child to get into acting, of course, you're going to put them into a theater program and things of that nature. But man, people really got to start watching their children a little closer that are in these situations. They bring an imaginative, high-energy production to kids and kids at heart. As the region only fully professional resident theater for children, really? We create original plays and lively adaptations of beloved classics that spark wonder and laughter and unforgettable memories. Now, sometimes you have to wonder with these types of guys and these allegations, was this a front to bring the children in, and then you can pick out the ones that are groomable because they know how to do it. Look how long it took Stephon Stearns to find Jen. He wanted to do what he was doing long before he met Madeline Soto. He had 35,000 images of children on one of his computers. He finally found the right one that just wasn't paying enough attention. And it doesn't really talk about the children's part anymore to get toward the bottom. Now, I don't know if they've changed a lot of things around since, accusations from back all the way back in the day. But this is the company he founded with his brother. Okay, studio for young actors, classes for kids and teens. Our year-round youth classes held at the Sophia help young um, performers build confidence, developing their skills and creativity through games and performances. Ugh, so, Lord. I didn't see any stories pertaining to this place like years ago, except for that one incident with the girl. So, but it makes you wonder if there were other children who were exposed to him and his behaviors that never reported it, right? And will they come forward now? We'll have to wait and see. Human kindness is all year round. At Dignity Health, now this is a sponsor. At Dignity Health, we believe in the power of art and its ability to heal, whether on the stage, a piece of canvas, or any other form of expression. The arts bring a community together to help it flourish. Dignity Health is honored to be the healthcare sponsor for the 2025 B Street Theater Family Series. Now, it's a lot, that's beefing it up, right? We're going to have all these things, and come in now and safe. Hopefully somebody from your company is paying attention that none of these children get harmed. Sacramento is supported by thousands of doctors, nurses, medical staff, and employees who are dedicated to advancing the health of our community. Learn more at dignityhealth.com. So, what does Dignity Health do to sponsor them? Just like advertise for them? I hope they not recommended their patients go there because they're not got to wonder about you. But yeah, that's the gist of this company. Support the B Street Theater, and they give all the contact information and different things like that. Now, again, that not on them for what he did, but it was his company at that point. But he did step away, I guess, once those allegations had been made against him from the 16-year-old. So some of these allegations were from 1999 through 2001. And at 2001, when they learned of the internal investigation that B Street was conducting, that's when all of his active roles within there began to cease. So I'm assuming he hasn't had an active role since that incident. Well, let's hope not. But how many other incidents were there that we are unaware of? Certainly he's probably sitting there wondering the same thing. Soup and beans and fried potatoes smothered. Girl, stop it, Tricia. You're talking to my soul right this moment. I thought about making some bean soup today. I did. I still might. Now that you've encouraged me. Y'all all live too far away from me cooking all this food constantly, right? Hold on, let me check my messages. Okay. Rachel, did you get your coffee? Oh, wait. Let me make sure I don't. Oh, wow. Okay. Never mind. Oh, goodness. All right, guys. Well, there's a lot, to unpack with this. We don't have the other. Let me show you this before we go in a minute. I don't have the indictment or the documentation on the accusations the father was talking about. There's apparently a 7-page indictment to go with that, but I couldn't find it this morning. And then I have their docket. Let's see, because they added to it since yesterday, or day before yesterday when I looked at it. Case, is it on this one? Let's see. Oh, my session timed out. Let me start over. Okay. No, I'm not a robot. Okay, let me put his name in. It'll come up, and then I'll bring the screen up for you guys. Oh, wait. Last name first. Okay, here we go. Okay. So this one was entered on the 9th And then this second one was entered on the 14th, which was yesterday. So that one's going to be pertaining to the what that father was talking about. And it says, see that you can't pull up the documents to read them. Pretrial preventative detention on 11/14. There's a noise outside of my room and it's annoying. Transfer ordered on the 14th. Transfer ordered. Petition for pretrial detention was on the 14th as well. And I wish we could click on these documents and read them like we can in other dockets. Maybe we can find a link that you can actually do that. But that's what it is. They added this new one, right, that I was telling you about, the one on the 14th. So we'll have to keep an eye on it and see how it unfolds. What is Puzzle? Maybe I want that too. Ooh. Yes, let me do that. Okay, there is something I was going to share with you guys that I forgot to share about Melissa Gilbert. Thank you, Butterfly. Because I did mention this to her right before we went live. I was like, I just grabbed a clip. Somebody I don't normally. I'm assuming people feel, I don't know about y'all, but I know there are a bunch of people out there who feel some type of way. I promise you, I only reviewed this because it was about this subject, and it's Megan Kelly, but she serves it up. Okay, let me pull this up, and she'll explain it way better than I can. Okay, way better. And look, this is a professional woman, and guess what she's going to do here in a minute? Same thing Ashley Banfield and me do. We're going to be dropping some F-bombs. Here we go, baby girl. Let's let them fly.
About this case, this Timothy Busfield, Melissa Gilbert case. The allegations are deeply disturbing. And I'm sorry, but I don't smell a money grab here. I don't. I think the two boys are innocent. I think they came forward, and this is not atypical to see them kids who have been abused come forward and first admit a little, only to later admit a lot. Now, I don't know. I'd like to know more, so I'm going to keep my mind open, and I don't want to prejudge Timothy Busfield's case before he's had the chance to defend himself. I find it extremely odd that he's not turning himself in, and he is at large. Again, we're on day 4 now. Very strange. And I also think it's interesting that people on the set saw the change in the one boy, that somebody not knowing these boys were making this allegation made an anonymous complaint about him and what she perceived as inappropriate touching of the boys. This is all that he's had 2 other cases in which not young kids, but a 17-year-old woman and then a 28-year-old woman accused him of, in one case, like physically assaulting her in a movie theater. So desperate was he to get in her pants. And they were on a date, and she was basically saying he went off on me. And then another woman, the specifics of which I don't know, the 17-year-old, but he tried to sue a law firm that represented her for defamation. He lost, and a court ordered him to pay that firm $150,000 in their legal fees, and he also was forced to settle with that 17-year-old. So I don't know. I don't know what happened, but here's what I do know. Melissa Gilbert, on November 15th, when she decided to get online and start lecturing me about abuse cases, knew full well that her husband had been accused of molesting 2 young boys. She knew it. And friends, that's why she did it. She went online and decided to try to make herself into a victim in the whole 15-year-olds are also abuse victims, which people claimed that I disagreed with, which I would never disagree with. I have interviewed girls of that age who have been abused. I've interviewed girls who have grown from that age and tell me about the abuse when they were that age. In no world did I ever say that they weren't abuse victims. I was making a distinction between the legal term pedophile and who it encompasses. And that is it. And these fucking loons decided to run some campaign suggesting I didn't think it was a deal for a 15-year-old to get assaulted or abused. Melissa Gilbert jumped on board. And this is not the first time. She lectured me a couple months ago when I said, if they're rebooting Little House on the Prairie, which they reportedly are, they better not wokeify it. And she got on and waxed poetic about how she She thinks Little House on the Prairie was woke and correcting me on my views that she didn't like. She's been lecturing Trump for years now on the abuse issue. Very holier than thou. And now we see why. There is only one reason she did that. And by the way, in her post about me, she tried to paint herself as a 15-year-old assault victim, saying, I was only 15, she writes. I was 15 when, hold on, I'm trying to find it exactly, when I was expected to fall in love with and kiss a man on film who was several years older. Through the lens of today, this is shocking. I have no words other than to say I was a child. I was 15. Thank God my mom and Michael Landon and so many others were there to make sure I was safe. Can you imagine if I hadn't had them all? I'm so fortunate. What are you saying? You're impugning Dean Butler, who was 23 and played Almanzo Wilder when you were 15. So yeah, there was an 8-year age difference between actors on a set that had the most benign kissing scenes ever. It was like, trust me, I watched every episode. There was nothing that you couldn't show on a church altar. And what do you mean, thank God for Michael Landon? Who do you think directed that show? Who produced that show? Who was the star? Michael Landon. He was totally fine with everything he was asking you to do, which included kissing a 23-year-old Dean Butler. And why are you suggesting if Michael Landon hadn't been there and your mom, that Dean Butler would have raped you in front of the film set? What the fuck is this? This is her trying to paint herself into the prism of abuse, both as an alleged recipient of it while she was on camera in front of the world and as an avenger of it. And my friends, I am telling you, she, with the cooperation of People magazine, which is the new Gawker, that's how gross they've become, especially the digital version. I know the woman who runs it, and she's gone full tabloid. This woman begs me behind the scenes for little tips about anybody. She begs me for a crumb about any celebrity. She'll stick the knife into any celebrity and then go to their face and say, oh, I'll do a lovely feature for you. But trust me, she's calling people like me for dirt on any celebrity she can find. So People magazine decided to blow this up. And People ran with it because they made it about me, which is always fun. And Melissa Gilbert, the whole time, was obviously trying to cover up for the huge sexual molestation scandal that was about to break in her own marriage. She's mentioned repeatedly in the police affidavit on buying the presents for the boys in what the cop is calling an atmosphere of grooming. So she's got to answer for some of these things too. And we now know she was on the phone call in which they outed all these complaints against Timothy Busfield by both boys and the touching of the genitalia. She heard it all. She heard it 2 weeks before she tried to cast herself as my moral better on the subject of abuse. Melissa Gilbert, you can sit the fuck down. You have been exposed. Shame on you. Shame on you for that cynical ploy. Shame on you, People magazine, for going along with it. And shame on you, Timothy Busfield. Because if you touched one hair on the heads of those boys, I hope they throw the full measure of the criminal and civil law against you. And I hope if there is anything on those home computers or any record about anything untoward in your history, they find it.
Okay, that was about the gist of it. So what was she doing? When she's sitting there in November coming at her, she already knew her husband was being investigated at that point. So that's a little ridiculous in my opinion. Let me get out of this so I can see the chat again. Yeah, some accountability. Do I mean, because it's not sounding good. It's not a good look when you come out and you are attacking. And she's right. We've all known for a few decades now that she eventually said she felt some type of way about kissing Almanzo. And we're like, well, and my immediate thought was, yeah, but the person that wanted you to do it was Michael Landon. I knew that back when the story broke, or when she began to talk about it, right? And I'm like, that's come on now. There's been a lot said over the years about that set and what really went down on the set of Little House on the Prairie. So if she wants to go digging all that up, she can welcome to it. But she's probably better off to sit down and take a, like Megan said, you might want to sit all the fuck the way down for a minute and be quiet, because it's really not about you, right? This is about allegations against your husband, and they're serious. And you really should take a seat and be quiet and let it play out in the court of law. You know, if he wants to defend himself, that's fine. He has that right, as we all know. Due process and all. So sit down and do that. But you coming out here and making yourself some freedom fight. I can't stand it with the freedom fighters. I do not jump on bandwagons. I don't jump on the latest trends. I don't have to do any of that. I don't have to do anything society's trying to force me into doing, right? And she shouldn't have done it. Not when you knew these allegations were about to be coming out or to public, right? I'm trying to get, so hang on, guys. I'm trying to multitask and I'm not doing a good job of it. Okay. That's not what I wanted either. I need to go here. There's something I'm trying to do real quick. Oh. Okay. All right, now I got it. Now I got it under control, I think. All that to do that. I had to get my stuff together. There we go. Giving out 5 memberships here. I've been forgetting to do that lately, and I apologize because it's not right. We do get those to gift out, and I have not been keeping up with it lately. So welcome into any of you new members. Thank you for coming in. Thank all of y'all for coming in and joining us as we discuss these stories, the coffee and crime conversation. I love seeing y'all conversate about it in chat too, and seeing where you all feel and where you stand on these things. You know, we're unpacking this stuff as a community. I don't know everything. I just got commentary and my thoughts and opinions, but they're just that, right? Thoughts and opinions, and yours are just as valid as mine are. And I really appreciate all of you who take the time to come in and listen to the stories and chat with everybody. Even if you're just a watcher or a listener, your view matters, and we appreciate all y'all showing up for that. Now, we'll keep an eye on this as it unfolds. If anything new comes down, I'll keep it on the desk here and we can get back to it. I do have that 170-page omnibus filing in the Rex Sherman case I want to dive into today, because I don't want to read a 175-page document online, on a live, but I do want to go through it and pick out the things that we need to talk about, because that case is gearing up to go to trial, and there's some really important things that are going to be coming down with that case. Not only, the tragedy of Rex Heuermann and what all he did to those women, but the legalities of it all and what will be challenged in court. That stuff is fascinating to me right now. So I'm going to be diving into that document and trying to pick through what we need to talk about here. And if y'all are interested in discussing more about the Rex Heuermann case, I'm planning to do this. My plan is to do it tomorrow. What is tomorrow? Is it? Oh, tomorrow's Friday. Okay. I was like, is it Saturday or Friday? I don't know. But I'll come back in the morning with that show if that's something you guys are interested in. I would love for you to come back. You're going to have to write. What are you doing, Carrie? I'm going to have to write you to why I don't get gifted memberships anymore. I know. The active community members should be getting them. I know that sometimes apparently they can even go to people who aren't currently watching but had watched before or something. I don't know how it works, but yeah, it's a random gift option. They just randomly give them out. But we will try to give away some more here real soon. If it lets me give some away tomorrow, I certainly will. Well, thank you all for coming in and hanging out with us for these few hours. I do appreciate it. Hopefully they'll catch us on the replay if they missed it today. But all right, guys, y'all go have a great rest of your day. Eat all that good food y'all are cooking. I guess I'm going to go find me some now, and then I'll dive into my document. All right. You guys have a great afternoon, and I'll see you back here tomorrow.
Thank you all for watching this here video. Please like and subscribe and follow. Much love from Little Yas to